Candidates for police training are carefully screened before admittance. There are rigid physical requirements and written tests to pass. Also, the background and records of all candidates are thoroughly checked. This is to ensure you of having a police department you can depend on. And now, another Dick Tracy cartoon.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm joined by the great legend, and we are going to talk about crime stopping with Dick Tracy, and we're glad you all have joined us. Let's see who all's in the chat. I see, here's Recess. Looking good, guys. Can't wait. Thank you, sir. And, hey, Christina Payne.
One of the best right there.
All right, fantastic. Wonderful people. Legend, spread the love. Yes, that's right. I am one of us is here. Hello. There's Michael Taylor, always faithful.
Oh, yeah.
Hello to everybody. And, looks like Gotham City is out there. Hello, Gotham City.
Nice. Yeah, Gotham City Comics. Awesome.
Make sure you buy from him. I just got a nice Monster magazine from him. Let's see. Hello, Graphic Man and Legend. Here's Gratu Orlov. Hi.
Hey, it's like
and Jambo.
Jambo.
Jambo. It's always nice to see Jambo. Here's Gary. Hello, Gary. And Missing Mars.
Yeah, double M.
He's saying hi to everybody. Michael Taylor saying hi back.
Oh, yeah.
Very friendly out there. We appreciate all that. Here's August. Hello there. Aloha. Wow. Must be from over the sea. Must be on vacation. Fireball's got a great Instagram. Check him out sometime. There's Missing Mars. I think that's twice in a row I've said that about Fireball. I said that on Dr. Silveridge's show last Saturday.
He's just getting extra shout-outs. That's always good.
The check better be in the mail. Here's Ron. Hello, Ron. And more Missing Mars. And Strange Dog comic stuff.
Yeah, wow. I know that guy. That's Ian. Hey, Ian. Strange Dog.
Good. Here's Curious Joe.
Hey.
I hope you like it. And hello. That's how Eric Breen. That's how he says hello.
Eric Breen.
There's Jambo. And Michael. More Eric. And hello to the Great Legend Show.
Hey, what's up?
He is here. I was worried about him. Yesterday he wasn't doing so good.
I was under the weather yesterday, but it's just like the Chicago Bulls, man. This is the Jordan flu game.
Yeah, there you go. Here's Friar Tuck. Hello.
Friar Tuck, what's up?
And the shout out is well, good. Eric Breen sounds like a Seinfeld. Sort of, kind of, yeah. Okay, I'm sure there'll be more. By the way, my YouTube is all weird now. It shows the main video that people are watching right now, and then it shows all these little bitty videos that you could see underneath it. It's a new format they've rolled out, and I thought it looks terrible because you can't see the description of the show or anything like that. The comments will be off to the side when the show's done. And so I quickly typed out there, for anyone else experiencing this, and somebody made a video 11 months ago complaining about this. So apparently YouTube is rolling this out in stages. I'm not a real big fan of it, but we'll see how this does when we're all done. I'll see if the comments still show up pretty good. It looks like very distracting because here's the main viewer, and then here's all the videos you could be watching instead of.
That's so wrong, man.
I know.
Yeah, they know not to leave. This is a good crowd here tonight.
I hope so. Looks like we've got 30 so far. Well, that's really, really, really good. Let me start off like I always do with some Edgar Rice Burroughs. So bear with me, folks, and then we'll get right into some good Chester Gould, Dick Tracy. If you subscribe to me on Instagram, you've probably already seen these, so I will choose the right button here. There we go. Here's more John Carter of Mars. Wow. And I really enjoyed that. That's from a paperback. that picture of John Carter. And the back cover I thought was pretty dynamic. He's getting ready to get onto that spacecraft. And I got so much Dick Tracy stuff here, I don't have enough room. Here's Warlord of Mars. That's like the original cover. And check out the new one.
Oh,
pretty wild looking. There's the spine. There's those two. And bear with us, folks. We're going to go pretty quick on this. The Moon Men, which was the sequel to The Moon Maid. This was the Ace paperback artwork. So, of course, Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote a lot more than Tarzan and John Carter. He wrote about the moon. And
when I saw that Moon Maid on Instagram, and I laughed because we had just talked about Moon Girl earlier in the episode.
Yeah. That's a different one.
Yeah.
There's a Jungle Girl.
Oh, Jungle Girl.
And of course, I read this Jungle Girl was underneath her head. The G was under. You couldn't see the G, so I moved it out, and I had to use this little G, and I made it bigger to replace that G. Anyway, so no one cares about all these details, but it takes a couple hours to mess around with all that.
Those graphics and those layers of pictures and
Ace
words and
paperback.
enlargements. It's a lot of work.
There's two more. One was here's the Moon Maid you saw.
Yeah.
So
That's it. Yeah, it's awesome cover. Riding that character, that beast character. You think Moon Maid and that beast character are more than friends?
Well, let's hope not.
That'd be some strange sci-fi there.
Here's
there we go.
The Golden Lion. I took the old title because I just loved that the lettering and put it on this great new image. So here's like a 1950s version of that.
Mm-hmm.
And check out the teeth on this guy.
He's really getting frisky.
Yeah.
He knows he's about to die.
All right. So enough of that craziness. Thank everybody for indulging me. I'm on a big Edgar Rice Burroughs kick. And so let's talk about some Dick Tracy. So here's an old reprint, and it's a little extra large. He meets the blank, and this one leaves you at a cliffhanger. You don't know how it ends. So it's I don't know why they did that, but a little history about my efforts to find out about Dick Tracy when I was a young lad. I saw Dick Tracy on our newspaper. Of course, this was the 1970s. And I think the best stuff was the 30s, 40s, and 50s and into the 60s. But I thought it was interesting, and I always thought the characters were pretty neat. And I remember my father saying, "Oh, you should have seen it back in the good old days." So I looked around, and I couldn't find any. But I would go to our local library, and we had all the old newspapers on microfilm. And if you could scroll, and then find the comics page, and then find the Dick Tracy, and you hit print, they'd charge you a dime for every time you did that. I could get a whole bunch of prints of strips, and I could put them all together and try to make my own comic book, which is kind of what I did down the road. But then I discovered Blackthorn, and I'm going to juggle some more stuff around. And Blackthorn was a great company. And here's what they would look like.
Man, that looks so cool.
So that's their logo. It looks like a blue ribbon, but it's green there. And it would just print panels. And so, of course, the cover would be in color, but it's black and white. And it's monthly. And they even did some of the early stuff. This is from the 30s, so pretty cool. They're talking about old right there.
Oh,
shooting a bear.
Yeah, that's how it used to be done.
Yeah,
good old days.
Then you get into the 1950s, and that's Joe Period, the bad guy. Dick Tracy got a new partner named Sam Ketchum. There he is. Sam Ketchum was a Jew, and so that was kind of a
kind of new for
new
that
thing
time.
for the 50s.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about Flat Top. there's Flat Top Jr. in that circle.
Oh yeah.
That is the son of Flat Top.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he was one of the coolest villains I ever saw. So, I'm all over the place here. Blackthorn couldn't do everything. They sure tried. They did about 99 issues in a row. And I am scrambling to find the things I need. They left off with the middle of the Flat Top story. And that was not a good place to leave off. So I joined the fan club, the Dick Tracy fan club, and then you could buy old issues from them where they would reprint the ending of the Flat Top right where Blackthorn left off. So it's called the Dick Tracy magazine. So what the Great Legend's going to show you later is stuff that you don't need to go to all this trouble that I went through. But anyway, and for fun and giggles, after Flat Top comes the Brow. And I made my own Brow comic, doing the pasting and the cutting and all that. And I decided for a cover, I would make it look like a Blackthorn, but I would put a young graphic man on there. Back before I used to sport a beard, I was just a mustache. So there's the Brow telling me to, I'm the driver, stay here, and he's going to go shoot Dick Tracy. So,
yeah, and I'll be back. Okay, boss.
So later, the Great Legend may ask, what's your favorite villain? I had to make myself a villain. So, but we will get back to more of that fun and nonsense here in a second. Let me get caught back up with the chat where I left off. And let's see. Here it is. Where are we? Eric Breen, 50s Romance Comics greetings. Yes. And hey, it's Woodward.
See
right.
Woodward 19. Maranya.
Hello,
One of the awesome voice actors on the Geeky Muppet Show. Taylor.
There's Captain Strange live. Hey.
Hans, good to see you.
And Jambo, like that Jungle Girl. I bet you do. Thank you, Mars.
Old Wolf 65.
Hello there.
Good to see you, Tony.
And Curious Joe says, great. Edgar Riceboro jackets, very professional. Well, I thank you. Really like the spine design. After all, that's what you see mostly. Yeah. I hope to have a nice shot of the shelf here when it's all said and done.
Oh, look at this guy, Spinner Wreck from last week.
You have a much better guest. Well, we love you, Dave. Yeah. You were fine.
Beautiful statue collection. I love those.
Yes,
Spider, learning all about Spidey and all the villains, and oh man, it was awesome.
So my impression of Dick Tracy was he's really cool. And I would try to talk to guys my age, and they were like, "What are you talking about? He's not Spider-Man. He's not Batman. But in the late 80s, you could get a lot of Dick Tracy going, and then of course they made a movie and all that. But they did some earlier things, and I'll show. Here's Dick Tracy versus Cue Ball, and my screen's acting up, so you let me know if you can still hear me.
I hear you loud and clear. Dick Tracy versus Cue Ball. We're wearing our wristwatches, our Dick Tracy wristwatches. Look at the villain of Cue Ball. I bet he's Ian Keith, maybe, because who plays Dick Tracy again? Morgan Conway?
Ralph Bird.
Ralph Bird. All right, Ralph Bird. There it is,
Boris
Ralph Bird.
Karloff.
Mm-hmm. I know y'all know Boris Karloff.
We'll show a clip again. Here's Dick Tracy's Dilemma. And, of course, everybody's very familiar with this movie, the cast, and where they tried to get a lot of the characters together. Let me show a clip of that Boris Karloff so everybody's more familiar with it. And I think this is it, right?
Guilty. Yet no pulse and no heartbeat.
Oh, don't look at me like that, Dick. I tell you, he was dead.
Dick Tracy, homicide, quickly.
So he is of no use to us any longer.
You'll get rid of who?
No, please, Gruesome, he didn't mean it. He needs you. We all need you, Gruesome, please.
Exactly.
All right. So hopefully that'll get you excited about Dick Tracy a little bit. While I get caught up with the chat, Legend, tell us how you discovered Dick Tracy.
One thing first, I saw Karloff, and he is one of my favorites in The Mummy, especially as Ardith Bay. But, but I love me some Karloff. But Dick Tracy for me is a lot of fun. And I was in preschool. I'm not even going to school. I was kind of before kindergarten, I was at my neighbor's house and she was babysitting me. And every morning we'd UPA, United Pictures Artists. I'm finally remembering it. They would run these Popeye cartoons and they'd run the Dick Tracy show. And basically the Dick Tracy cartoons here were from, I want to say, this date on here. If the date's on here, I can't see because my vision isn't good, but I think they're from the 1950s. But really cool show. Dick Tracy had about 3 or 4 assistants that would help him capture these bad guys, like the prune face. They had Itchy, and even on the disc, Itchy scratching himself there. And then this actually looks like, let me see. That actually looks like a Flat Top Junior right there, because Flat Top Senior had the kind of little moles under his eyes and stuff. But they probably just meant regular Flat Top, because it's a cartoon. But yeah, I would watch this cartoon, and some of the folks that would help capture or, Graphic Man just talked about Sam Ketchum being the first Jewish kind of character coming on the scene helping Tracy. Well, these other cast of characters you saw in the 50s on the cartoon, you would get this guy, check him out, Joe Jiu-Jitsu, and he was a foreign guy, Japan guy, and he would talk to you like this, and have the teeth and the eyes and do that, and he'd say, welcome to, you're going to be my friend, and then he would just grab him by the hand and start whipping them back and forth like this. Thank you, how are you, very kind sir? And he just do it and beat the crap, do a Hulk versus Loki basically. And so you would have these cast of characters. He also had an English bulldog that talked like he was from England or maybe Scotland. I don't know what kind of bulldog anyway. It was one of those. And his
name was Hemlock Holmes.
Hemlock Holmes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I think it was. They always said from Scotland Yard.
Yeah.
And then he'd have that. And then there was the Mexican guy with the sombrero that talk like en ese. Órale, somos unos vatos locos forever. Buenas noches. Y people in la chat room or chat dormitorio. Buenas noches a la noche. Tonight on Graphic Man, we're talking Dick Tracy. But after, I grew up and stopped watching the cartoon. I didn't really think about Dick Tracy at all until the movie came out. The Warren Beatty Dick Tracy movie that had Madonna in the movie and everything like that. Had Big Boy Al Caprice was played by Al Pacino. You had an awesome influence as the guy in the green brim. We got old Armstrong. His name was either BJ Armstrong. No, that was the guy from the Bulls. Maybe something Armstrong, but he was a great character actor who played Prune Face. I don't remember who played Itchy. And Flat Top was that guy from one of those Steven Seagal movies and from Cloak and Dagger #1. A good actor. I can't remember his name, which really sucks because that dude's like a well-known character actor. Do you remember that guy who played Flat Top?
No, I sure don't.
That's we'll find it. But being one of my favorite movies, they had a line of toys, my Playmates, and I'd go down to Ben Franklin's craft store, and they would always have the action figures down there. And sometimes I got my allowance on Fridays. And what was so cool, it was like 1989 or 1990 when the movie come out. So 91, they had the figures or whatever. I'd get my allowance on Fridays. It was usually like $2 because, I help with the chores and stuff. And then my grandmother would usually give me a $5 just for not doing anything because grandmothers are just freaking awesome that way. Yeah. And I'd go down there and get the Dick Tracy figures. And sometimes I would even hide the Dick Tracy figures behind like the Barbie toys and stuff. That was classic. And then I'd go back there and the damn thing was still there. And I'd grab it and say, yeah, I got my Flat Top. And the Flat Top actor was played by William Forsythe, is the actor who played that guy. Okay. Who's been kind of in a little bit of everything. And the gal that played Tess Tess Trueheart, she was played by Glenn Headley, and she passed away, I want to say, not too long ago. But that actress who played Tess, that was a good Tess on that show. Oh, and old Breathless Mahoney, you had Madonna. So I really got involved and hooked with the characters from the movie. I didn't go balls to the wall and get the gangster car or the police car or anything like that. But I
He
did.
says William Forsythe.
William Forsythe. Yeah, that's him. That is him. Crazy Hungarian. Oh, Dustin Hoffman is Mumbles. Yeah. All those good people in there. I loved it. And then whenever he held the water close to Mumbles, boy, that would really be putting him under. Yeah, and Seawood was on there. He liked those Playmates Ninja Turtles, which were him and Tracy, they had some good style there. Oh. Well, God bless you, Hans. You know, we're always thinking of you, man. You know, we think of your wife too. And anytime you go through those bad times, you let us know, and we'll pray that you have the good times. We love you, brother. But yeah, that movie really got me going. And they tried to really revitalize it after that movie, but I don't know like what happened, but it kind of fell apart. And then I didn't start thinking about Dick Tracy until a lot later when I found out that this company was putting out these hardback books here. And so they started selling these Dick Tracy hardcovers that had, they were going to go through all of Chester Gould's whole thing. And the hardcovers were volume 1 through 29. And they're done by, golly, I don't remember who put these out. Library of American Comics. But that's who put them out. And I'll show you some of those here in a little bit too with Flat Top Story. But I started collecting those and putting them off to the side when I was just a wee young comic channel. I was putting them off to the side because when I retired, I knew I was going to get to them and I was going to read them all. And I'd done that previously with my Dark Shadows, the 1,245 episodes of Dark Shadows that ran 1966 to 1971 that starred Jonathan Frid, Dave Selby, Laura Parker as Angelique, Victoria Winters, the whole crew. I just love that show. Willie Loomis, all of them. And, I finished all of that. So that took me like 3 years. So this one will probably take, I don't know, I could probably get through this maybe in like 2 or 3, but I haven't even started reading them. So some of the stuff, my other knowledge comes from, when my buddy Seawoodard19, he got me a cool treasury book right here. He found this, and it's a treasury of Dick Tracy, and it's really cool. It's got some of the wanted villains on the cover. Prune Face is another one of my favorites. I love Prune Face, Flat Top. And the pouch, here's a picture of the pouch if you've never seen the pouch. He has kind of like a zipper on his chin, so he can hide jewels and cookies in there for later if he wants to eat.
He was like better than Gaylord Perry because Gaylord would keep a little bit of stuff right there on his chest and then he'd get the spitball going. But
anyway. This is one you're going to hear about in a little bit from Micah. Graphic Man's going to tell you about the brow. Look at that blonde hair. Kind of looks like Captain Nazi of the Fawcett publication days.
I didn't know he had hair.
Oh, what do you think?
That might be a coloring situation.
Because that's the thing, like in the black and whites, that you're right. And see, I haven't seen a color of brow. This is just maybe that's what they felt like on that day, or they want to use some leftover of the hat. On the back, you got some of his friends. Junior Tracy is one of my faves. The little adopted Tracy boy. And where's Sam Ketchum right there?
Yep.
Very cool. God, that nose reminds me of Shemp Howard for some reason. Maybe W.C. Fields too. But Chief Patton, of course. Chief's always classic. Yep. But yeah, there was a character in the movie poster that you showed a minute ago, and it was a guest character in the bottom right-hand corner. It said, can't see or something like that. And then he had these black glasses on like he was blind.
Yeah.
His name was Can't See or something. Let's see that again. Let's see.
Wrong one. Almost. There he is.
Oh, his name is Sightless.
Yeah.
He's a blind man, but his name is Sight. That's the kind of stuff I think that's really funny about Chester Gould, because he would just name like characters he would just name them like he named them, like the brow, and he would put like all these brows on his forehead. And then they had this guy here named Measles. And of course, he would have measles. Shaky would always have the trembling shakiness around him. There's Breathless Mahoney, Gravel Grady, and there's Snowflake. Like, look at Snowflake. She just has that deer in the headlights look. Like, like, duh.
And that's how they find her, on the side of a road. Yeah. So looking dazed.
See, I didn't even know that, but like, that's what I noticed about Chester Gould. And when I've read a lot of stuff on Chester Gould, he's a dude that just tells it like he sees it. No bullshit neither. Like, Micah, did you think like the first time you started seeing these, you were reading like an adult kind of comic?
Definitely,
Yeah,
because of the violence, and the women were very seductive in certain situations. I'm telling you that, and I'm reading some of these at the same time. Everybody's very concerned for Hans and everything. Thank you, Dr. Fibes. Yes, and some of the girl villains were just tough, tougher than a man. And I read Dick Tracy and Pogo and Lilith. Yes, all the time. Part of my history is just a love of the newspaper strips, and so that's the big time Dick Tracy.
I did look in the same newspaper strips in these books. And because it's the complete Chester Gould dailies. You know what we should have done? We should have put one of those Amazon affiliate links up, and then get you some little blowback if anyone orders some Dick Tracy. I just kidding. But no, what's funny is, he would tell it like he saw it. The villains were just totally kick-ass. They were doing stuff in the comics. Like, one of the first panels I saw that really got me is when some of the villains, and I don't remember which villain it was, but it was just some villain was doing it to some regular dude, and they had a guy like strapped on a gurney, and then they had his shoe and sock off, and you're like, what's going on? I don't understand. And then all of a sudden you see this fire come out of this blowtorch can, and it's like burning this guy's foot off. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so painful. Even hot showers, like, or if you get into like a hot tub and you don't know it's that hot, and you're like, and you put that foot in, and you're like, you don't mean to say this, but you're like, God damn, because you hit that 104, whatever. What y'all got this hot tub on, people? You trying to take me to the damn bottomless pit?
I believe that villain was Chrome, Krome, but
that fired that flame on that dude's foot. Oh,
like a little cellophane torch with a can, or something like that. Wonder when Dick Tracy was shown not in profile for the first time. Early on, he looks right at you in the 30s, and then Chester started to get into that, cleft of a nose, whatever you call it. Very stylized.
That's how I like the Dick Tracy real stylized. That's kind of what got me is right around that time. Also, the Batman animated series came out, and that was really stylized too.
Yeah. You mentioned the TV, or the movie. They did a comic adaptation to that.
Wow.
But I think it's actually better than the movie. Now, the art in this takes some getting used to. It's of course, it's very stylized, but there was 3 of them, and the second one was probably my favorite because he goes into the underground and fights the mole. There's the mole right there on the edge. So, and then of course the third one. So, but you can't miss these. They all have.
Those look really good. I may have froze. Hey, Micah, can you hear me? The cool thing is, and I'm going to have to get those 3 that you're showing, because I would love to read kind of what happens in between the lines of the movie.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Hey, welcome back.
Yeah, I think think both of us were the little wheel was spinning.
Yeah, I may have been loading. I don't know what was going on, but that's great to see you back, man. Those 3 comics you showed, that is so cool because I saw the rodent in the movie get gunned down like at the beginning of the scene, but I didn't know the mole was in there. And see, I
Well,
love comics that show like extra stuff.
It goes beyond the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it kind of goes like right after the movie left off.
Or it kind of leads up to it.
Okay. Dude, that's even better.
Yeah. It's not bad. If you
Good
want
to
to get
see
little
you, Gore.
If you want to get little paperbacks, here's a Prune Face. Prune Face was a tough.
He was good with everything.
He
Good
knows he's
murderer.
recognizable. So it's in the time of winter. He sees a dog with a sweater, and he kills the dog to get the sweater to cover his face. This was a bad dude. I mean, he tortures and hurts people, but all I have to do is say he killed a dog, and now everybody wants to shoot him. So, and then we have Mrs. Prune Face. There she is. She's quite the thing. In fact, before I freeze up, let me just go to some of that. After Blackthorn, Gladstone showed up, and I was so happy for Gladstone. And they start off with Mrs. Prune Face.
Ooh.
And these are great because, like Harvey comics, they were in color.
See, I love that.
And so,
So
you
cool.
get to see all about Mrs. Prune Face. They were selective. Here's they call it the extortioner, but we know him as Gargles. And every day he would gargle with some mouthwash. But it's really, really, really good. I recommend the Gladstone run. It's 6 issues. And so let me find out. Here's a guy I know Great Legend likes. He likes the Influence.
Influence, yes. Influence is awesome. He did some great mind control gimmicks that
Yes.
sometimes if you research mind the MK Ultra machine, some of those mind control gimmicks still work today.
And great cover here.
That is a good cover. Running for the car.
And then Shoulders.
Oh yeah, Shoulders. I used to have an action figure shoulders, real broad shoulders. He looked like freaking another Chicago bull guy. Phil Jackson had those broad shoulders.
He would hide jewels in his coat, his shoulders. So, Gladstone tried a little thicker format for BBIs, and I'll go in real tight so you can see BBIs without it getting too blurry, but also in color.
I always like BB eyes, them small, teeny little eyes.
And let's see, did I show? Okay, part of the Blackthorn series was 1 3D, so not too bad. I'm not a really big fan of 3D.
Are the 3D glasses attached?
Let's find out.
They are.
That
could be worth a lot of money.
Oh, I don't think so. Maybe $1. So. Well, I don't see what page they could be on.
They probably fell out.
They probably did. Of course, you're looking at this. I mean,
dude, I love 3D though. I always have some 3D glasses around.
Well, they made other 3D books as well. So
3D.
now I'll have to find some glasses just for that. So I have 1947. This is a popped wheat giveaway, and it's just a nobody, a no nothing bad guy. Yeah. So, and it's just like 6 or 8 pages. If it doesn't look too bright and cheerful, it's because it's printed on newsprint. It's the same paper your inside would be on.
And I liked that. Is it the regular newsprint, or is it even a little thicker newsprint?
No, it's the stuff that
just the regular, huh?
Yeah. So, example,
that's
here's
pretty cool though.
There's some of the other characters they would do stories for. But, now, Super Comics reprinted a lot of those. Of course, reprinted a lot of other things like Smiling Jack.
Mm-hmm.
But I will briefly go through some of these Super comics.
Oh, you gotta love a good train one.
Super was produced by Dell. So these are 1943. So your cover art may not necessarily be Chester Gould. It may be one of his assistants, but the interiors were Chester Gould. And so I don't know if we mentioned, but Dick Tracy started in 1931.
It's such a good year.
He was going to be Plain Clothes Tracy,
Mm-hmm.
but the head of his editor said, "You know what? Call him Dick, because that's what all the newspapermen call a policeman. They just, as a slang term, Dick for detective. They just call it that." So he made him Richard Tracy. Goes by the name Dick Tracy. And just bear with me a few minutes, and we'll go back to the great legend.
Oh, I love that cover. Saving the man from drowning. Shoot. Sewer covers.
This is a guy practicing a sleeper hold.
Mm-hmm.
And
ooh, doing that kind of science stuff.
They introduce a lot of
the
how to make
CSI
your own,
and all that.
dust for fingerprints and
dang, that's so cool.
Things like that. Oh, let's go back to the Blackthorn. They did these hardbacks.
Oh,
while they were doing 99 issues of regular stuff, and I just picked out a few choice covers. These are called, I call them the Reuben Award winners. You see the red Blackthorn ribbon. But if you want to buy these on mycomicshop.com, you have to look for Dick Tracy 1984. And here's the famous, they end with this one, black flat top. And
he's so smooth.
He is.
He's such a damn gangster. I just love him. And he's got the little moles around his little cheek. That's how you can tell the old man from his Flat Top Jr., but what a good character. Gone too soon. Sorry, Flat Top.
Here's a Gladstone produced this, which was kind of odd. It's a painted cover. The interiors are black and white, but this one was about Facey. Or Little Face, I forget what you call him.
Yeah, Little Face. Yeah, he was fun.
Here's a fan favorite, the Mole.
Oh, there he is.
And I love these Gladstone albums. There's 3 of these. They'll show you what the 3 look like. I only have the Mole, so.
Now, could you get the other 2 albums from my comic shop, you think?
Probably. I'm sure somebody has them, Other formats you could try. Oh, by the way, this was my favorite picture of them. 1946 is when they introduced the 2-way wrist radio.
That was always one of the things I loved on the cartoon and in the movie was that radio.
And I've been piling things too high. They're all going to collapse on me. So, one more way to get some of the old stuff is Pacific Comics put out these. They're not too bad. They're pretty large.
Yeah, they look good. They look. I like a good large. That's how I like them. The larger.
But they're all over the place. So, 1937, 1936. But what you showed earlier was the best way to get all of them. So,
yeah, they put them out. You can find them on Amazon, and they're reprinting. They're reprinting the first 6. So the original ones were in a smaller form factor, but all the ones you get now are going to be these larger size form factor here. Hey, there's a piece of my wife's hair on here. Anyway, yeah, they're this size. I've got this one that's actually open. That one's not open. Let me get into this one here. Just a real nice book here. But I'll show you kind of how the size works on it.
Yes.
Size is really good to compare it to the old school size, but just a great, you could read these in the bed at night and just sometimes root for the bad guy, but in the end, Tracy's gonna put him down. He's got it, he's got good has to win, But man, and then some of the way these villains die too are just kind of like you just don't really think about them dying like that. Like, so you as a fan, if you're a Dick Tracy fan, read into some of these ways of some of these death scenes. I'll go ahead and spoil the flat top scene.
Sure.
This treasury, I think it was the only Dick Tracy treasury.
Yeah.
But I wish they would have made more. But the great thing about this treasury is they have a nice piece here. I'm going to read it to y'all in a minute. Let me go ahead and read it to you first. It says, during World War II, there were shortages of food, gasoline, and other commodities. Strict rationing was put into effect. But some criminals obtained these scarce items, often by theft, and sold them in the black markets to those who were able to pay the high prices asked. People didn't ask questions as long as they could get what they wanted. Dick Tracy was hot on the trail of a major black market ring. Afraid of being caught by the law, the gang leaders imported a trigger man to dispose of Tracy. The hitman was known as Flat Top. This is the story of what happened when the great detective came up against the most memorable and deadly foe. This is the story of Flat Top. And Great Legend has one 4-letter word to say to that. Damn! Man, I love this story, and I'm going to go ahead and spoil it to you. And it's a shitty way to go. Anyway, Flat Top gets wounded, right? And then Flat Top's on the run. What's that? My foot. I hit something. It's the most shittiest way to go. Oh, there we are. Pull those boards back. Anyway, they start doing some stuff. I can't explain it all. But basically, our boy, Flat Top, he gets stuck between these beams, and he's trying to swim in between this dock. And he drowns a violent death on the ground, as Boris Karloff would say. But anyway, get your hands on this. It's the full Flat Top storyline. And you got that guy. Remember the B.O. Plenty? His name's B.O. Plenty because he had a lot of body odor. See, homeboy didn't care. Chester Gold's like, dude, if you didn't put on your damn, what's the kind I wear? Old Spice, then you don't need to be, you got stinky pits. You need to go back home and put that Old Spice on. So, yeah, I used to be the volunteer coordinator at the library, and it was one of the most, it's one of the most unfortunate conversations. I'm a volunteer coordinator, but I got to go up to the volunteer and say, hey, we just want you to know, we want you to be healthy and everything, but we got to ask you if you can go home, take a shower, put on some deodorant. Man, well, I hate that kind of explanation because you got to kind of got to soften it in before you put it on them. You know what I mean? It's like you're softening up their leg. Bret Hart softening up the leg so he can do the sharpshooters.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know how that got into play, but yeah, B.O. sucks, everyone. So all Dick Tracy fans, we're great because we know the secret. pH balance for a man, whatever for the woman. What? And
B.O. was a bad guy, but he turns over a new leaf. His name is Bob Oscar, B.O.
Yeah.
Could have triggered the Gil Kane alarm. Here's the one I was wanting to grab. Prior check says, are the Blackthorn books color on the interior? No, they are black and white. They had a color cover. And they were $2 back in 1989, 1990, 91. So that's when books were going up. And so they were a little bit more than your Marvel and DC at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Joe, this is how Micah gets around. No, setting off the alarm for the brat. Wrist radio on the great gadgets and comics. 3 times Dick Tracy Treasury, Dick Tracy Treasury. Very cool books, especially those super comics. Thank you so much. Flat Top Friends of Kid and Play. Well, I guess he could be Flat Top.
He could be in there. He could be the third member.
Somebody asked earlier about a sewer issue, and I'll have to find that out later. Back to Flat Top dying and drowning. That may have disappointed you. What I think Chester was trying to do is every villain's going to end up getting shot right between the eyes by Dick Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, I've got to probably mix this up. And so he did the.
Oh, that's a good way, because he was in quite a bit of good shootouts, and being that
Yeah.
he was a hitman assassin or whatever, you would always, if anyone could be able to kill Tracy, it would probably be Flat Top, but just circumstances of just Gould being the good guys. We got to keep Tracy going for years to come, and sure enough, he did. But yeah, Flat Top, good way to go, I guess. Well, and he tried to escape, shot at, escape, but you can't escape getting caught between no dang dock, underwater.
No.
Mm-mm-mm.
And I guess before my computer crashes again, I will try to show what happens to the Brow. My favorite villain, and of course, you've seen the picture of me with Brow.
Mm-hmm.
That's silliness that I was involved in. Wrist radio, the
awesome.
gadgets. Yes. 3 times. Yeah, I love the wrist radio. I thought that was great. Of course, later in the 50s, they changed that to a TV. Friend of Keith. Okay, now I'm getting caught up. 2 days.
Oh my God, I didn't know they had that. That's pretty crummy.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And no voting was going on. It's amazing. All right. That's an inside joke to anybody out there.
Yeah.
So next week. Hammerhead of Marvel is flat. Yeah.
He's got that flat top look.
Yeah, and he's a gangster.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever get that? He's a old fashioned.
Those are the characters I do like on Batman. I think Batman's gangster. Oh gosh, I wish I remembered his name, but Falcone was one of them. I liked that guy because he was even in the Batman cartoon, that Falcone, and he was in the Nolan Batmans, the new Nolan Batmans, I think. Well, those aren't new anymore. That was the one, the Christian Bale's first one.
Yeah. Okay.
That Falcone guy.
Well, let's talk about the Brow. He is during World War II, he works for the enemy. He's operating here in America, and he moves a lot of information and things. He tortures some twins. I'm not going to show you those, but just all the torture that goes on in Dick Tracy. You asked earlier, is that for adults? Yeah, it kind of is. So,
but it was cool for the kids to read them, I guess.
Yeah,
even though I found out about them like later, it's like I wasn't one of them kids that read it.
When you're a youngster, you're probably reading, Barney Google or I forgot who the guys I was back in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, Mr. Magoo. Was he Felix the Cat?
Okay, Crazy Cat and stuff like that. You're looking for the Katzenjammer Kids and stuff like that, while the adults are reading
the good stuff.
Dick Tracy. So, but the Brow is a bad guy. So let's. I'm going to bring him into the image real quick. So here he is, and that's probably one of the better images of him.
You're right. I don't see any hair. I think it's just all brows.
Well, there might be, but just that little bit on top. But
yeah, just that little bit. Probably blonde hair, like some German.
And in the background, you see one of the girls that he would torture. They're twins. He would torture one of them and send the other one on a mission. So you got 20 minutes to get back here in time, or this machine's going to cut through her leg. And so she'd always get back in time, but there'd always be some cuts and scratches because, it gets closer the longer she takes. So he's real ruthless, but they do try to get away from him. And he's a bad guy. And Dick Tracy has him on the run for a long time. It's during reading this that I discover gas rationing coupons because I was a youngster and I'm reading this and I'm thinking, wow, back here in the war, not only did you have to pay for your gas, you had to give them a coupon book to have the right to get gas.
Man.
So that was pretty rough rationing. But anyway, you get through all that. He throws a lightning rod right through Dick Tracy's shoulder, puts Dick Tracy out of commission for a few weeks. So this is a big, long battle, a big chase, and he finally gets a hold of the Brow. And the Brow is so beaten up that they take him up to a hospital or a doctor's office on the 8th floor. The Brow manages to get a gun, and Dick Tracy throws a ink bottle at him, and he crashes through the window, and just below him is the flagpole, and his body gets impaled on the flagpole, and he slides all the way down. And that was a nice little Sunday newspaper funny that you and your family could read and enjoy back in the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you can tell, Micah, the flagpole at the top of the flag was a good old United States of America flag, and of course, the brow was from the Germans, so he got impelled by the country he was trying to get.
They make mention of that because let's see, did I go too far? Yeah. No, I guess it was on another image, but here they mentioned that they can't just remove the body. They've got to get a derrick and pull the flagpole up out of the ground so they can get to the body. I mean, this is by now we're on Tuesday's strip. So lots of goodness that goes from Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Just crazy stuff. So, but he was one of my favorite villains. I would say Flat Top Jr. is great in there. There was a guy called the Blank. He didn't have a face. Just listing all the crazy villains. They were just in the first 10 years. They're just ordinary bad guys. Many times Chester Gould would take their name and he'd like to take a regular word and just put it backwards. And that would be the made up name for the character. So it would be look a little weird, but just good stuff. And then finally you get past Big Boy and some of these, get to BBIs, and then you're starting to really get into some weird physical characteristics of a prune face and things like that. So, but you started off watching cartoons, and you have read Flat Top, right?
Yeah, just the Flat Top so far. I haven't even read Plain Clothes Tracy, which I got the first book and I started to read it, and I don't know what happened. Like I just didn't start reading it. But Plain Clothes Tracy's in that first volume, and it tells all of that, and it's really good introductory. Yeah. But I gotta get my Plain Clothes Tracy going. I
like to go to libraries. Oh, I did. I spent a lot
you
of
said,
time.
And were y'all using the microfiche?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the original. Yeah. Those the little pieces of blue and paper you put in. Yeah, that was I got raised on that. Well, all of the library stuff I had to do,
Well,
that's the stuff I like.
I hated microfilm, but
you found those Dick Tracy's in there.
Yeah. After
that's Chicago Tribune, or
it was
just whatever it had.
Missouri paper we had. Yeah,
that's awesome.
I just they're in a little film and they have the date written on them. So okay, I need this date, and I keep track. I was a little nerd, of course, but yeah, and the librarian will look at you funny. You're just this little kid. You go, yeah, I'd like to see the news leader for April 3rd, 1945.
Yep.
And they go, what do you need that for? But they'll go get it for you. Yeah.
Did you tell them it's for the Dick Tracy strip?
No.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Some of those librarians are kind of like, they always taught me not to get too involved with what they're reading. Get involved with the person, get to know your customer, but don't say, getting a book about divorce, huh? It sucks to be you. Or they'll pick up these long books on how to file for divorce. Going through some hard times. Oh, damn. No, they always taught us not to do that, but those are pretty funny though. Fix that problem. God bless America. Amen.
Yes.
America, we got to fix it.
Yeah. So anyway, there's another villain that didn't get shot by Dick Tracy, but a lot of them did. Tracy was brutal. He sure was. There are 3 sisters that are rough, and they're acrobats, and they kill this park ranger because they had escaped from the law. They got out in the woods. They killed a deer. And the park ranger noticed, someone's hanging a deer that's out of season. Well, he goes to investigate, and they kill him. And then Dick Tracy's finally showing up, and they find the park ranger. They had stuffed him in the dead deer.
Oh, man.
So the deer's hanging, and a leg is sticking out. I mean, this is Dick Tracy. So it's some serious stuff.
Yeah.
Very brutal. Missing Mars. Can't believe it.
My wife is in such into the true crime stuff. I need to get her to start reading some Dick Tracy. She could see some crime like going crazy.
Oh, yeah. Well, hello. I'm a little blurry. Is that
Jig's Kingdom? Yeah, Jig's Kingdom. He's got him a show later tonight where he shows off all the cool comic books he got for the week, and he invites others to come on with him. Good to see you, brother.
Well, fantastic. Glad to have you aboard here.
Good to see Scotty as well. I can spot his image a mile away. It's the first image I hope to see when I look at them clouds when I float away. Didn't that early Batman? I think he did, because he was more of a relying on the detective skills of a handgun. Yeah. But then he changed it into batarangs later down the line.
My Marania's talking about a job with microfiche and microfilm. Marania, I started off at Pizza Inn. I don't know if anybody has a Pizza Inn out where they live.
We used to.
Relegated to the extreme south. But I remember the slogan for Pizza Out. It's Pizza Inn. Great. Mm-hmm. I love that job.
Man, I love pizza.
I was 17. But right after that, I got a job making microfilm. And, of course, that was the way of the future back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And but then when they quit making all these machines that read it, people realized, what do we do with all this microfilm? So my next job was to take microfilm and then scan it and convert it to images on a computer. So I work with graphics, but not the kind of graphics I want to work with. Carry a gun, he sure did, and he shot people with it.
Yep. You had to do it in the old days before they started getting too scared in the comics.
Pizza is great. Pizza Inn, yes. They're in the South, but not really in my state.
Our Pizza Hut in Texas, it closed down, but they used to have this thing called 50s night where everything was 50% off when you ate in there, and it was awesome. Of course, everyone in the freaking town showed up there. It was so good.
And I'll be showing some Big Little books here of Dick Tracy soon.
I do love some Big Littles.
Did you have anything to show for this next segment?
No, not really. I think I'm all dicked out. I'm ready to listen to Micah show some Dick Tracy books. The Big Little books, of course. Hey, there's Comicore in the chat. Comicore Chad, what's up? Good to see you, pal. I know Comicore grew up watching that Tracy movie. But, I'm a big fan of the little big books. I think, maybe a couple FF ones, but I don't know where they are. I hope I have one or two. I think someone gave me one of those.
All right, here we go. Give me a few seconds. Oh, and a back cover shows a picture of one of the old movies. So first off, we'll do the blank. There we go. Or no face.
What year is that from?
The 40s. Notice how you can't even see the FAC. They kind of cut it off here, but there he is. The man with no face.
So cool.
And here's Junior being tied up.
Yep. Back in the day, you can put these in the back of your pocket, take them anywhere to read.
Yeah. Dick Tracy and the Mad Killer.
Cool. Yeah, that is so cool.
Not much to look there on the back there. Mm-hmm. All right, here's the one I saw out of the corner of my eye. This is the Spider Gang.
Got that classic sad profile on there.
Yeah. So here's the spine. You see the spider web.
Dropping through it. Dang.
The evil spider.
46.
So here's a picture from the movie. That would be Ralph Bird. Must be in an airplane. Dick Tracy and the Tiger Lily Gang. There he is with Junior.
He's probably about getting ready to get his pistol out.
Yeah. And one more. I think my oldest Dick Tracy, the Penfield mystery. That's the old Dick Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the girl, Jean Penfield.
Jean.
Giant eyes. Harvey is a good series to collect, but we've been talking about how violent it was. Harvey would tone things down a little bit, so they wouldn't show quite as much torture. But here's they're smoking us out, Tracy.
I always loved those Tommy guns. That period, that's such a cool weapon. I don't really need one, but they look cool. Probably shoot pretty good.
Oh, everybody needs one. This is 1950.
Do love a good Tommy.
Here, it's got some rough spots on the bottom here, but there is Pear Shape.
Pear Shape.
Have no idea why they call him that.
Tracy firing around in that lion's mouth.
Yeah.
You want one? Bam.
And Crewy Lou. They call her Crewy because she had a crew cut.
Oh, look at there. That I wonder if Luna Vachon would inherit that later down the line in her wrestling gear.
She is so bad. That's her brother. Her brother wants to get rid of her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because she's ruined the family name. Crewy Lou. By this time, Dick Tracy has married to Tess.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a little baby girl, Bonnie Braids. And the little girl's in the back seat of Dick Tracy's car, and Crewy Louie steals the car, doesn't know the baby's there.
Oh.
A big nationwide hunt. What will happen to the baby? You know. And then in the next issue, he's still coming to get Crewy Lou. He even says, "This is your last chance, Crewy Lou." And they're firing a rocket into this. Yeah.
Oh,
they were determined. Gosh. Totally determined.
Mm-hmm.
So these are good old Harveys. So,
and the Harveys are colored inside.
Yeah,
that's so cool. You gotta
like,
love some good
like
Harveys.
Gladstone.
Yeah,
like Gladstone did. Now Blackthorn was more prolific. They did a lot more, but they just, you know, it would have been $4 a book probably instead of $2 had they had to have color interior. So
yeah.
So here you go.
God, so cool. I love how the flashlight really just pops. Like there's even the flashlights in there. That's an awesome book. The Harvey Dick Tracy books. You know, there was this issue I was looking into buying. It's 4-color issue 1 of the volume 1 4-color. And it was the Dick Tracy cover, but I never did buy it.
Does he have a red shirt and he's looking at a watch?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that very first one. Yeah. It looks so good, but I never pulled the trigger. I don't know. My wife would kill me.
Our good friend Meyer Greenblatt, I believe, has that one.
God, well, all right, Meyer. Next time Meyer comes on, it's time, Meyer, to show that 4-color number 1 Dick Tracy. I got a lot of 4-color Popeye books. You know, our next video we may have to do. My next return is we're gonna have to talk Popeye books. Popeye the Sailor, if you like that guy. I love Popeye.
Here's the authorized guide to Dick Tracy.
Ooh.
Collectibles.
Oh.
And
you salivate a little over this.
You can get the Dick Tracy guitar.
That is cool. They had his own guitar.
Oh, there's Bonnie Braids.
Yep. Yeah, that's cute. Bonnie Braids. Oh man, to get the freaking pin and everything. Oh,
there's the movie. So they were kind of cashing in on the movie as far as now's the time to look at all the old Dick Tracy stuff.
I'm kind of excited. They need to do some more Dick Tracy movies. Bring them back. I don't know though. I don't know if the OG stuff would work in a time period like this, though. Not the Chester Gould stuff, that's for sure.
Here's a big one: America's Most Famous Detective.
Oh, Bill Couch Jr. had edited that one. Does that have a lot of different strips in it?
Yeah.
Oh, and it's the origin of the two-way wrist radio set on the back there.
Oh, there was a great image. I'm going to try to find that. Oh.
Man.
So apparently Chester Gould went on the Ed Sullivan Show, and he created old Granite Jaw as a Ed Sullivan bad guy.
Oh, man.
So...
Dude, Micah, wouldn't it be cool if Chester Gould was still alive and he did your character as the bad guy? That'd be cool.
Yeah, he needs a Micah. So anyway.
And they'd make you into a microphone or something. Microphone. Oh, look in there.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of text, a lot of interviews, a lot of explanations and things like that. There's Chester doing some pistol practice.
Freaking awesome. Oh, that looks like a dang Luger or something. Look like one of those German pistols I use in the video game.
I think he's shooting out in Oklahoma somewhere. So,
So
here he would be back in 1931, creating Plainclothes Tracy.
Yep.
And the bad guy would be Big Boy back then. So a lot of these books will teach you a lot. Now, you get into the 70s and 80s and the art changed. Chester Gould retired and the artist became, I think, Dick Locker.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't too much of a fan of this. Notice there's 3 panels. 1, 2, 3. So back in the good old days, you had 4 panels and you could tell a better story. When you get 3 panels, now you're limited because panel number 1, you have to catch everybody on what happened on Tuesday.
Yep.
And then you got the action and then another thing of a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And then tomorrow you got to catch everybody back up again. So,
yeah, man, they could try to reinvent the wheel, but there ain't nothing like some Chester Gould. Now, later down the line, old Joe Staten, the guy that made Kilowog, he would start doing some Dick Tracy. And today's Dick Tracy, you can get it online. I can't remember the website, but you can get the today's Dick Tracy online, and it looks pretty good. It looks kind of like that IDW comic they had a while back that Mike and Laura Allred did. But I don't know. It's not something I would probably go to their website all the time to look at because I just like looking at it in book form.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I don't know if anyone in the audience is very familiar with a comic strip called Terry and the Pirates, but that was drawn by Milton Caniff.
Mm-hmm.
And Milton Caniff decided, I don't own Terry and the Pirates. I want my own characters. And since the newspaper he worked for wouldn't let him have Terry and the Pirates, he leaves and he makes Steve Canyon.
Okay.
And
Roman Curtis sent me some Steve Canyon books.
Oh, yeah. Good artwork. Good artwork.
Mm-hmm.
Dick Tracy's Dilemma, another great film for 47 with the goofy character, Vitamin Flintheart. Vitamin was an old stage actor, and he would always take his vitamins by throwing them in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of an odd old duck.
He was in the Flat Top storyline a little bit, too.
Yeah.
Just kind of doing his thing. And
there's Jay. Hello, Jay.
Hey. Pew, pew. Yep. He's Southern. Jay Lucian.
Yeah.
Cloak and Dagger. You got to love Dabney Coleman.
So back to like Milton Caniff jumping from Terry and the Pirates to Steve Canyon. They tried to get Chester Gould to leave Dick Tracy and leave the Chicago Tribune, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, no, they gave me my first job. And so he stuck with Dick Tracy a couple more decades.
Yeah.
I'd say no to any remakes. I'm afraid if they made a movie, I would be afraid of what they would do to. Well, first of all, Dick Tracy has to be a female.
No. They can reverse it. Tess Tracy and
Tess would save the day.
And Dick would be the guy that stays home or whatever. And gets in trouble.
Yes.
Or maybe he'll turn into an alcoholic, and then the wife has to go out and solve the crime. And if it was Warren Beatty being an old man alcoholic, Tracy, that might be kind of funny. But no, we want the OG. We want our original. They change in the Silver Surfer.
Oh yes,
That female version that I think she died in the she didn't even last but 1 or 2 issues. I don't even remember because I didn't read Silver Surfer 1. I only read the Fantastic Four stuff. So I'm not a big Silver Surfer guy, even though I have Fantastic Four and all that. I'm not the most. I'm not knowledgeable on the Surfer. I know I've read the Modern Surfer with Dan Slott, and he created another herald. Actually, it was a herald that ended up being the herald for Doctor Doom, and Doctor Doom created Galactus, where he embedded Galactus in the ground, and Galactus powered Latveria for like years after that. What was supposed to be Galactus was going to be Doctor Doom's personal freaking power grid. Great storyline. Anyway, sorry to get away from the Dick Tracy.
No, that's great.
Hey, MSK 361, one of the OGs of the community is here. Good to see you.
Dick would be the Manzel in distress. That's a new term.
Manzel in distress.
Manzel instead of
Dan. It's supposed to be the love of Silver Surfer's life in the Silver Surfer 1, but I think it's murdered. Well, you never know. Maybe we'll see the guy Surfer.
Hello there, MS.
MSK loves him some
Misky.
Captain America.
Okay.
Loves old Cap.
Good.
Loves that.
Well, we hope that what we're doing by talking about Dick Tracy so much, we hope that you guys will get energized and go get those volumes.
Mm-hmm.
And like the ones he showed earlier, these are fantastic.
Yeah, there it is.
They're worth the money. I mean, you see the little, it has a bookmark hanging here. And they're hefty. They're pretty hefty. And that's what the spine will look like.
Yeah.
They didn't start off like that. They were much smaller. I should have had it somewhere around here.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting probably one of the best to grab right out of the thing, because this has flat top and the brow.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get two crazy.
One of the best volumes right there.
Oh, definitely. And it's got tons of interview materials.
See,
there we
got them together.
Same time.
So y'all know we really love this series. It's just so awesome how and then like he said at the beginning of these books, they have some special stuff to read so you learn more about what was going on at the time.
So I said the brow throws a lightning rod right into Dick Tracy's shoulder. Now that they're black and white. This is the color inside.
Mm-hmm.
What do you call page 1? I don't know, but
interior cover page or something.
And they had a radio broadcast wondering when will Dick Tracy ever get married. So I think Frank Sinatra was a part of that too.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, just dynamite stuff. Once and the legend's going to find out because he's read a few. When you start, you will have a hard time stopping.
That's what I'm hoping for.
It's just so entertaining, and within a day or so, they've got a new villain, and they introduce it, and it's just the great continuity.
Always something new on the ride of the roller coaster of Chester Gould's Dick Tracy.
Yeah, when he meets the inventor, Diet Smith. Diet Smith is like a 1946 version of Tony Stark without all the cool Iron Man stuff. Because he's got all these gadgets and he invents stuff. He invents the two-way wrist radio.
Oh, that's so cool.
And all these stuff. Now, when you get into the 1960s, Chester Gould decided Dick Tracy should be in outer space. And they meet the people on the moon. And I showed earlier where Edgar Rice Burroughs can have you meet people on the moon. But that's not Dick Tracy. And I must say I'm not too much of a fan of Dick Tracy in space.
Me neither. I like him in the 40s, 50s. We kind of talked about it off there, the gangster period, I just love that stuff. And from Dick Tracy, there's a lot of cool stuff. Like we actually got to have Gosh, Al Capone. We got to have an Al Capone inspired real life character. And all those good movies that came from mobster movies, they all have a little bit to take from Dick Tracy and some of those villains.
And comic book shops will
Oh,
jack
that's
up the
right.
prices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes,
Hopefully they're still reasonable though. But
Yeah.
is it free of crime? Yes. And they show a guy getting killed and then they just let the body float in space. So that's what's going to happen. If we ever made it into space, there'd be murders in space.
They just throw them off into the sky or
people get kicked out of an airlock.
Yeah. Those airlocks.
Oh, yeah. We've probably got no business taking our junk into outer space. Here's Meyer Greenblatt.
Hey.
Yes. Now, that is an inside joke. There's a congresswoman recently reported. She made a press conference, and she says, the moon is just gas, and it's too hot to live in the sun. I think she's talking about climate change or something, but here's
sometimes
a congresswoman.
Those ladies, she
has no idea of the moon.
Is she the one that collects those Magic the Gathering cards, those MTG cards?
That shows you how up to date our fans are in the chat. They bring up a reference like that.
Yeah.
Moon of gas, and we need to land on this. Okay, yeah.
The moon, yeah.
You guys are well read. Good. Glad to hear it.
Yep. Some good stuff.
No drinking govern.
Well, they partying up there. They got to be partying in DC.
And she blamed. Oh boy, we're getting.
They all do. They all blame each other.
Is that who that was? Sheila Jackson Lee. Oh my goodness.
Sheila Jackson. Yeah. Hey, Christina Payne, CP. You're one of the best in the community. She's really good at doing the moderator. She's our moderator on a lot of live shows. So great job, Christina Payne.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So what is going to be happening down the line for the Great Legend?
Well, you just never know with the Great Legend show. But I did do a video on Monday where I didn't really talk much about books or anything. I did show some books, but I mainly wanted to give thanks back to everyone that's watched The Great Legend and wondered what I've been doing and where I've been. And I've been retired in real life, but I'm slowly but surely trying to get things in order and rearrange stuff around here so I could do more videos and kind of catch up to the things I have been doing in life. But one of those things I've been doing is kind of, getting right with God, learning more about the message God wants to tell me, and just live every day for Him. So a lot of times when I do that, my eyes are getting away from the comics and stuff, but the eyes are toward the prize, if you will. But so, yeah, I've been eager to get back in and doing some more comic stuff. And Micah, I just want to thank you for, being a guy that always checks in on me like a big brother. Me and Micah, we're on IG now, and we got each other's phone numbers. So I actually talked to Micah, graphic man himself, today, and it was a lot of fun. And I really appreciate you just being, letting me hang out with you and share our Dick Tracy fandom with the community.
I hope you guys will pick up Dick Tracy. Try to find what you can. It really is good. It may not be everybody's cup of tea. I mean, they had an interesting way to deal with things. For a while they're chasing people in a helicopter, and they get a shotgun and they shoot your engine out while you're driving down the highway. So I don't think they do that these days. But back then they'd give you one warning shot, then they'd go for you. So if you're running away from them,
they didn't invent the little bed of nail gimmick yet. They didn't have that invented. So you just had to aim for the other guy with the sniper guns.
I guess.
Take out the driver. Headshot.
And he really is a good detective. He'll find something. Oh, another thing. When you read the 1930s and the 1940s, you'll see things about the history of the furniture they had and the lampshades and the way they talked. The word clue, you would spell CLUE, But back then they spelled it CLEW.
Oh.
And sometimes they'd spell it the real way, and sometimes they'd go back to CLEW. I don't know. For a while there, I guess we had both of those words in usage. And they've got suitcases in their hands, and they go, I've packed the grip. Let's go. So back then they call a suitcase a grip because I guess they got to grip the handle. So as you're a little kid, you're reading these, you're learning all kinds of, I guess that's historical trivia, but
it's when the book takes them on a time machine ride to the past.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. No one can hear your crying or hear you crying. Oh, yeah, we've been to that. Let's see. Gas. We need to land on the sun and the Sheila. Here we go. Yeah. All right. I think that's where we left off. Too many videos because I'm trying to get my watch hours up to past that goal of YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you weren't here at the start of the show, I make mention that YouTube has updated in a lot of areas, and so the format, you can't really see the title of each episode. Someone says they're trying to make it look like Facebook viewer. I don't really watch Facebook any, so I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I looked at that.
But we both are on Instagram. So look at Graphic Man Comics. And what's your name on Instagram?
It's at Great Legend Show, all one word. You can find me on IG, and then I have a Twitter account, which is also at Great Legend Show, but I don't really post much on social media. I did post today's show for tonight. Oh my God, shoot.
Oh,
yeah.
Good.
But that's the last thing I really post, but I'll try to post more pics and stuff like that. Get more out there.
Yeah. So I guess Moranya is also seeing what I'm talking about. It was just today that it happened to me. And like I said, I went to research this. So somebody was already complaining about it 11 months ago. So
wow.
YouTube is doing some interesting things. So
lately I've been watching YouTube on my iPad and I watch it on my phone, but I don't watch YouTube hardly on the computer because I got to get this room cleaned up. It's uncomfortable with all my stuff, and that's my fault. I buy too much stuff, but hopefully I'll get a hold of that addiction. I think I'm almost done. Like I bought all the rest of them Dark Shadows Dell 4 colors I need. No, they're not Dell. They were Gold Keys. I finished that collection, and now I just need a little bit more Scalp Hunters from my Weird Western collection. Weird Western Scalp Hunters, because I got all the Jonah Hexes already. Love those. Hey, look, it's Charlton 66. Grips.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. One of the best. You can, Micah, you can have Charlton 66 on, and you could do a whole video of Charlton comic books. Or Westerners. Westerners like Roy Rogers or Tom Nix or any of them.
You think I should have Steve on?
Hell yeah.
Well, speaking of Steve, next week it'll be Charlton 66 and Graphic Man, and we will look at some Wild West. Look, you see there I am trying to rustle him out of that corral there. He's going to give me trouble. But you tune in next week and you'll see Charlton 66 on the Graphic Man show. And no, he didn't know I was going to do that.
It's synchronicity, fans. I just really know what Steve likes, and I've been a big supporter and subscriber of Charlton 66 for a long time. I love the fact that he loves the old Westerners, because my grandpa on my mom's side loved old Westerns too. So I always see, when I watch Steve, I see a little piece of my grandpa,
Well, I gave him the choice. Do you want to do Charlton or Western? And he goes, oh, no, Western. So
yeah, Western. Hell yeah. It's going to be great.
We will show all kinds of Western. I imagine he might show a couple of Gene Autry's in there. So.
Oh, yeah. I know he does like Gene Autry.
Looking forward to that. So
maybe some books with Trigger the horse on there.
Well, that'll be up my alley. So he'll do Champion and I'll do Trigger. So okay, well, that about wraps up our Dick Tracy Crime Stopper tribute. So hopefully you all enjoyed that. We're going to get out of here in record time, which is great. But I think we've covered a pretty good Dick Tracy. It's not the subject for everybody. We appreciate those that stuck with us and watched it. So you tune in next week and we'll see some great Western Roundup. And I'll probably do some more Edgar Rice Burroughs stuff. I've made 3 more pulp magazines that I'm just holding off on showing anybody.
Mm.
So, but you check us out on Instagram, and we will see you next time. Letting everybody know we're leaving now. They're going to say their goodbyes. Nighty night, everyone. Great show. Thank you, Missing Mars. Able to have you guys. And did I miss Curious Joe? Good, good, good. Fantastic. And Rob. Thank you, Rob. Lead Paint was there. And thanks for the kind words. You guys are the best. Charlton, you're the best. And
Micah, thank you, Michael Taylor.
And with that, we will say goodnight for everybody's and happy drawing. Thank you, Legend, for joining me.
Thank you, Micah.